You are listening to the CADDle Call podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of ZenTek Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The CADDle Call podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the CADDle Call podcast with Jim and Rocco from ZenTek Consultants. I am Jim, your fun-loving host, and with me, as always, is my partner,
Rocco.
See, Mr. Zero Fun. See, and Zero Fun, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I make you all suffer through the engineering joke of the week. All right, Mr. No Fun, you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
All right. Since we're talking about AI today, here's a special one for you, right? How does a chatbot cross the street?
Okay. How?
It yells, "Hey, I'm walking here." Oh, my Lord, that's awful. In my best Al Pacino. All right, sorry about that, folks. It had to be done. All right, let's get into the show today. So we have a fan favorite guest back on the show today. Todd Rogers, a senior associate from Walter P. Moore, is back with us again. Todd, thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure to have you on, my friend.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me again. I can't believe you guys are up for this much torture.
I can't believe that we're still on the air, is what I can't believe. All right, folks. So Todd is here to talk with us today about kind of the practical side of using AI in the design world. But before we get into that, why don't we just let Todd have a chance to tell all the new listeners about himself, because I know he loves talking about himself. So Todd, why don't you tell everybody about your background and what you do at Walter P. Moore?
All right. Well, I have been at Walter P. Moore about 8.5 years now, and my title is BIM manager, but it goes way beyond that. I've got 36 years in the industry. So, a lot of the stuff I do is keep the production rolling, keep it greased, and, doesn't hang up. If production hangs up, Teams blows up, and have to stop what I'm doing. So, there's a lot of training involved, like I said, technical support, and, of course, BIM does come into play a little bit in there.
You would think.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so for today, I kind of want to get into how AI is integrating into the modern design environment, right? Not from like the glitzy sales and marketing end that we hear nonstop, but from the practical use side. I really kind of want to know how and why folks are or are not, right? Either way, using AI to improve their daily workflows in the design world, right? And since Todd, as you just heard, right, he has his hands all over that type of tech implementation, I figured that he would be the man to talk to about what is working in real environments and what he sees as just a bunch of hype. So Todd, let's start with kind of your general opinion of AI tools for the civil design space. Is your company actively using them, and are you finding that they're beneficial on real world projects?
So, if you remember, we actually did a podcast on AI quite some time ago, is when AI kind of was kicking off.
Yep.
And you guys were really skeptical of it then.
Very much so.
Especially you, Jim.
Especially me. And the bad thing is now I use AI almost every day. But go ahead.
That does not surprise me one bit. Yeah, anything that my company does, we have a very tight security at our office. We do some federal work, and with that, you have to have a real tight IT secure thing going on in the background. When we started using AI at Walter P. Moore, we were kind of playing with, well, let me massage this email a little bit before I send it out. Ooh, that's much better than what I typed, So, it started there, and, Civil 3D had some quote unquote AI capabilities with grading optimization and such. Now with 2027, we got a fully integrated AI interface in there. Now we haven't upgraded to 2027 yet. We'll be going to 2028, but I've done lots of playing around with it, and it's neat. It's really neat. I still do Lisp. I'm an old school Lisper, and AI helps me debug a lot of the things I do for production. I'm always trying to get production to streamline things and make things easier for them, so they really don't have to think about certain tasks that they have to perform on a day-to-day basis. So it's easier for me to write a Lisp routine, give them a button, have them hit the button, and be done with it. It saves a lot of QA/QC too.
Yeah. And I think you just hit exactly on where I got drawn into the AI space. I think it's ideal for folks like you and I. You know what you're doing. You know how you would do it. You've done it for years. You could build that Lisp from the ground up, but it's a tedious, time-consuming process that, like you said, requires a lot of QA/QC and vetting and going back and retype. And I had an extra bracket. And that can take you a couple of hours, whereas AI can pull that through in like 30 seconds.
Exactly, or less.
Yeah, it's absolutely, and that's what I mean. That's where I got sucked into the AI world myself. It is a phenomenal assistant, and I think as long as people see it that way and don't try and let it just think on its own and run wild, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So look, in the civil space, which are places where Todd and I have spent a lot of years. I think it's a good bit different from the architectural world in particular, right? That AI marketing seems to focus on, right? And I know, Todd, you do a lot of BIM work and you kind of cross boundaries a lot. Buildings have a lot of repetitive components, right? That are kind of consistent from project to project, right? While every single civil job completely different. Yes, most jobs have a road, for example, right? But on one job, it's a road across a flat desert, and on the next, you're going up a 7,000-foot mountain. The design parameters and the real world needs just change so dramatically from project to project. So Todd, I think most people understand that AI learns repetitive tasks pretty easily. But how have you seen it working with we'll say more advanced civil workflows and things like that are always different? Can it easily adapt to that stuff?
That's a really good question. As far as adapting to it, absolutely. But how quick can it adapt to that? That's the issue, I think, is, it's got to have input, right? It can't think without input. So if there's not much input on what you're trying to accomplish, you're not going to get a very good result from the AI application, right? As far as design goes, you can upload something in there and have it read that and compare it to what you're trying to spit out. But and again, are you giving up proprietary information when you're doing that, or are you using someone else's stuff? And that's the key, is you don't want to give up your proprietary information to the world, right? So a lot of companies are developing their own in-house AI systems, and we have one as well. Now, when I try to use our internal one, it spits out pretty much nothing. It's not there yet. It just doesn't have enough information to work off of. Eventually, it'll get there, but I need it now,
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's a lot of that. You see a lot of folks who are really focusing on trying to build those internal focused assistants that really work on, an AI assistant that works on your specific industry. We're seeing a lot of that. And it is funny. You're absolutely right. You got a great example. Just last week, I was working with a very, very advanced, Excel database DAX integration that I was trying to, and I'm like, man, this is going to take me like 6 hours to do. So I went to Claude.
Yeah.
And it took me like 2 hours because every time it would, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. I finally got it. And it's like, okay, that's that finally, So it saved me like 4 hours, right? It took me like 2 hours in Claude. But the great thing is that I had to do a similar one. And on the next one, it was able to do, because it was similar, not exact, but similar. It was able to crank out the next one in 5 minutes. and then a third one in a minute. You know what I mean? So they do learn. It's like, okay, I see what you're trying to do, and this is a variant of that. I think it's great in the way that it works like that. It's impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Rocco, let me ask you: Have talking to all of our clients, have you seen kind of a difference in AI trust or interest levels between like architectural clients and civil clients?
Not really. And it's interesting that you analyze it that way, Jim, because it's not something that you would, I think your average person would think about. But then again, you've had your hands in kind of all areas of AEC, so it makes sense that you would. But from my perspective, I think a lot of folks are just trying to get their hands into all this stuff, and experiment, see how it works. I mean, I don't talk to tons of people who say, all right, I was able to complete a project completely with AI. It's not happening, and it's not there yet. And not too many people are approaching it from the angle of what are the differences from architecture versus civil versus construction. I mean, definitely hear more people using AI in the construction end, particularly on the estimating end, but not so much in architecture and civil.
Yeah, I think people tend to believe and trust the basic numbers calculations. Hey, we're doing math, right? It's this times that. Here's a number, right? It's more the design variance that they're slowly learning to trust. So good observation. So look, I think for tools like Civil 3D and BIM systems, I think the companies like Autodesk are working to implement AI tools that can really help to automate repetitive tasks like surface cleanup, or like we're saying, quantity takeoff, right? Even smart object classifications for items like COGO points and point cloud data. And that's really beneficial for the end user, I think. It helps to eliminate a lot of hours spent in tedious, selection and classification of different items on screen. And I guess what I'm really interested in, though, is more of the design analysis side of AI in these spaces. Kind of interested in what it can do in helping to pick, what are the best design parameters, or how it checks for, municipal code compliance and things like, slope and structural stability in a design. And not working in the design world ourselves anymore, right? Helping people in the design world, I haven't really played with that. But Todd, I'm wondering, have you seen or have you started using AI for advanced analysis work at your company yet? And why not? And how's it going with that so far?
Not real advanced. For example, one thing that really stood out to me about the AI application inside of Civil 3D was, I asked it, I said, can you create me a surface that shows ADA compliance in Texas that is greater than 0.5% and less than 10%. It proceeded to create the surface. Not only that, it gave me all the ADA compliance right there in that dialog box for Texas. It was like, what? I didn't ask for that, but that's good to know.
It is good to know.
Yeah, it's good to know. Now, that's about as advanced in the analysis as we've been so far. Like I said, we're coming to a point in the office where some of us have to ask permission, so they've come out with different tiers. So there's tier 0 through tier 3 of AI access, right? What are you going to be using it for? And you got to give them your case, and they've got to approve it. And so this is new to us. This is just starting. So I'm trying to get tier 2. Next to the last one. I didn't want to go to the last one. I didn't want to be that guy. So we'll see how that works out.
There you go. See how it plays for you, how it goes. I will say, I have found the same thing. It was very surprising to me when I first really started jumping into and again, it's moving me on like the ChatGPT, online Google stuff. It's not the same. But when you get into like Claude and the more advanced AI systems, one of the things that I absolutely love is that it doesn't just give you an answer. it gives you, like I said, like it gives you all the documentation. Here's how I arrived at that answer. Here are the supporting documents. Here are the steps I took, and this is why I made those decisions. And to me, just my, I guess, my own basic anal retentive nature, I love that. I'm like, okay, I can see what you were doing. I can see how you thought that, and it helps me identify where the problems might be if I'm getting a weird result. So I think that's cool. All right. So I tell you what, folks, let's take a commercial break. And when we come back, I want to get Todd's input on some of the daily use AI tools like Autodesk Assistant that he was talking about and how he's using them. All right. So stand by, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the CADDle Call podcast. Hey, everybody. It's Jim and Rocco from ZenTek Consultants. And we wanted to talk to you guys today about managed CAD services by ZenTek Consultants. Look, every one of us out there in the design space, we're looking for that power person who can handle all of your standards and templates and file structures and answer all your CAD problems. But we run into two big issues. Number one, those folks don't come cheap, especially when you start adding in all of the taxes, insurances, and time off and stuff you got to add in. And then you've got to find someone that you can trust. And that's where ZenTek Consultants come in, because I got to figure you guys are listening to us every week talk. You got to trust us. And we come in and handle all your CAD management needs for you with our managed CAD services contracts, an annual contract where we can be your CAD manager, doing all the things that you need done for an affordable rate with people whose technology acumen you know and trust. So Rocco, why don't you tell folks where they can find out more about managed CAD services and get the ball rolling?
Yep, you can hit up our website, zentekconsultants.net, and if you go under the services section, you'll be able to see the details. You could also give us a call, 866-824-4459, or drop us an email, sales@zentekconsultants.net.
There you go. All the CAD management help that you need but have not been able to get is available with Managed CAD Services by ZenTek Consultants. All right, everybody, welcome back to the CADDle Call podcast. We're talking with Todd Rogers of Walter P. Moore about AI and how it's impacting the design world. And in the top half, we cover general adoption and use items that Todd's seen. And in this half, I'd like to get a little bit more specific. In particular, I want to start talking about the Autodesk AI tools, right? And how they're being received and used by actual design people. Here on the show, we have had a bunch of conversations with the folks from Autodesk on the podcast about their AI rollout and the care that they're taking to make it useful and correct in its information, right? And I applaud them for the way they're trying to handle this. I think the approach of, not just dumping untested AI into everything, I think that's the right approach. Instead of doing that, they've been releasing limited AI integrations with each release and every update. And the big one that they've gotten so far is their Autodesk Assistant tool. All right, and I know, Todd, you've been working with that over at your firm. So how many folks, Todd, are using Autodesk Assistant at your company? And kind of what's been the result in your opinion? Is it a worthwhile tool or not?
So in my department, which is infrastructure, we upgrade every 2 years on even years. So as you know, the real AI assistant was released with 2027.
Yep.
So my staff has not been using it, but I have been testing it, quite a bit to get them prepared for next year's rollout.
And how's it working?
I think it's going to be okay. It's hard to get people to use something new. I think this may be something that they actually will use. We have an AI assistant inside of our LMS, which is Eagle Point, and it's great, but nobody uses it. It's like, dude, it's right there for you to use. Why not use it? It takes 0% of your time to do this. It'll send you an email. Hey, you got a Spark. We see you're doing this training. You got a Spark here. And these new Spark trainings are like 2 to 3 minutes long. It's like, why not do it? It's 2 to 3 minutes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Yeah, one thing I do like as well, and I know it's AI driven, is the insights that it shows you on your home on your start tab in the software.
Right.
That is great. It says, "Oh, I see you've been using this command a lot. Maybe you should try it this way or try this command." I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, give people an idea that just because that's the way you learn to do it doesn't mean it's the best or most efficient way to do that. There may be a better option, save you a lot of time.
Yes.
That's a good setup. But from what I have seen and heard from the folks at Autodesk, their AI assistant at this point, it's primarily an enhanced help function, right? And that it doesn't really make any active changes to the file itself yet. In other words, it's like having an expert on the phone to answer questions for you, but you still have to think about and approve of and make most of the actual design changes within your CAD system. And I like that concept, right? Because I'm not comfortable that AI is ready for making, unchecked design alterations yet. But I wonder how that plays for end users in the real world. So Todd, when you're the guy making the testing run of this, right? How are you making use of Autodesk Assistant, right? Is it really effective as a regular assistant, or is it just kind of a periodic use, to speed it up when you run into a tech problem resolution for you?
That's where I don't think it's going to help you as much as I would help you.
All right, fair.
What the way I see it is, these people got to learn. So if they can't figure something out and they have to use AI to do it, they're really not learning. They're leaning on something else to do it for them. And that's what they do with me all the time when they ask me, "Oh, how do you do this? How do you do that?" I didn't do that. I went and learned on my own and figured things out, right? So that's how I've retained all this information over the years. So there's a certain point in there where you got to stop and say, okay, where do we draw the line with this? Because my boss came to me last year during my performance interview and said, "You got to stop helping so many people and just guide them on where to go for this." Maybe AI is the answer, but are they going to retain that information as well as it was if they went out and tried to learn it themselves, right?
Yeah.
Now that's an opinion, and to me it seems to work with the way you train people as well. If you train them that way, where you show them how to do it, or the way that I was taught was you explain what you're about to do, you show them what to do, and then you let them do it, and then you help them out along the way and let them figure it out, right?
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. I'm totally in agreement with you here on your opinion, as you call it. But it's kind of an interesting thing, just to kind of go off topic here for saying that, you see that there are a lot of folks like you and I, right? We built our careers because we've got that attitude of we're going to learn it, we're going to understand it, we're going to optimize it, make it better. And I don't think that's a commonplace mentality. Right? I think we can throw this whole concept back to, grade school, right? When you and I are both old enough to remember when the teachers used to yell at you in math going, "Well, you're not always going to have a calculator with you. Right. You have to learn it yourself." And nowadays, like, well, I got a calculator everywhere. It's in my pocket. I can calculate anything. And I wonder if maybe that's where AI is going to end up.
I'm sorry I got off topic about that, but that particular question just triggered that from me.
No, I think it's fascinating because I think about the same thing. I just don't know where to go because I agree with you. I think you've seen when we do our training classes and the teaching that we do here, that we're always process focused, right? And
yes.
My training, I always follow the military, right? The crawl, walk, run methodology. You start slow, then you do it, then you do it. I agree so much with you. I think it's so important. But again, I don't know where the world ends up, right? I know I'll be retired by that point. But at what point do we just say, I don't need to know how to do a design. The AI will handle that for me. I don't know. That's an interesting question that everybody should be asking themselves.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. All right, so I think a lot of AI tools outside the Autodesk world, right, are promising big performance improvements in the design build space, right? Whether it's ChatGPT or Grok or Claude, right? They're all integrating heavily into just about every software out there, right? From Bluebeam Max to Procore and accounting systems. And they're all promising full understanding of construction and design, right? Particularly like we were talking earlier, what Todd's company is trying to make, AI agents that are built to help with specific functions in our world. So, it sounds like you really, guys, you're already working on your own internal agent, but are you working with any other AI systems like these? I mean, which ones outside of like Autodesk Assistant and are you using any of the publicly accessible ones, and are they working or not working, or is security just keeping you from touching?
So it seems to me that certain ones do certain things better, right? Obviously, Claude is the go-to for coding. I've been using Claude like crazy because I have found that using Python with Lisp is amazing. And I knew nothing about Python, and I've got a blog out there about this thing there where I can take Navisworks clash detection and import it into Civil 3ds points, right? And it uses Python and Lisp. It's great. Like things like Grok seem to do like images very well, right?
Yeah.
So like caricatures or renderings or something like that. ChatGPT, it kind of all in one. I don't like its coding. It seems to not work very good for me, but I've gotten some good article ideas from ChatGPT. As I didn't mention earlier, I'm editor-in-chief for Augie World Magazine, and I have AI help me a lot when I do the letter from the editor. So there you go, audience. Now you know.
No secrets. So I'm not the kind of guy to hide things. You're just going to tell it like it is. That's what we love about him. It's good stuff. No, I mean, and I think you've nailed them head on. It's exactly the categories that I place all three of them in, And like I said, I just don't see any yet that are like truly beneficial, I guess, to the the design build world. And so I think we're probably going to wind up falling into like that Autodesk realm. Either they're going to come out with their own full blown AI competitor, or it's just going to be something agents that are built so deeply into these softwares that we just use them as assistants there. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
So Rocco, what systems have you seen our customers looking closely at in the AI space?
It's mostly Claude. But it's funny because like when I try to probe a little bit, it's almost like they like people got their own little secret worlds going on. Like, we're tinkering with Claude, and we're trying this with Claude, and it's like, well, what are you doing? Well, we're trying this and trying that. So Claude comes up a lot, but I don't get a full understanding for what they're trying to do with Claude. I think everybody's again looking for that magic bullet with AI, and it's just it's not, it's going to take time to get there, and you got to apply the logic. But Claude is definitely what comes up the most.
That's kind of what I've seen too. I see a lot of folks where they don't want to tip their hand because like, well, if I tell you the awesome thing I'm doing in Claude, then you're going to do it too, and I won't be the first to market with that. It's just like, okay, I mean, it's pretty much just Claude, dude. We can all pretty much figure out the same things, but that's all right. All right, folks, I tell you what, as always, when we have a guest, I always want to give them the last word to tell us cool things that I didn't think to ask about. So Todd, you know the drill, sir. You've been here many, many times. What else should listeners be looking at and thinking about in the AI arena for the design space?
So something I mentioned earlier, be prepared, especially if you work for a large company like I do. I don't think the smaller companies have anything to worry about at this particular moment in time, but you never know. They are eventually going to start cracking down on, how and why you're using AI and then limit you. So it's coming, and there's reasons for that. There's big security risks. People use it blindly and don't use it the correct way. That's another thing too. You got to learn how to ask the questions correctly with AI too, because if you ask the same question two different ways, you're going to get two different results.
Absolutely.
Right? And something I didn't mention to you guys. Did you know that I'm the first Expert Elite inductee that's been inducted twice?
Really? Congratulations.
Yeah,
Why twice?
Thank you. I got myself expelled from the Autodesk Expert Elite program for being open and honest in the world of engineering.
I can't believe
I had
that
to redeem
you of all
myself.
people were open and said things you shouldn't.
I had to redeem myself, and I did. I redeemed myself. So I got re-inducted a couple of months ago. So I'm very pleased to be back in the program. I missed a lot of my peers in there, and a lot of things I learned in there. It's a really good program. So
congratulations. Yeah. I'm glad you're back in it, though.
Great. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So now learn to play nice with others, Todd.
I'm learning.
It takes time. Listen, when you figure out, could you tell me how? Because I've never been good at it either. Oh, goodness. All right. So congratulations again. I think with that, we will get out of here. But again, I just want to say thank you, Todd, once more for taking the time. We always appreciate that you set time aside for us and come here and talk.
I love chatting with you guys, man. You guys are great.
Thank you, Todd.
All right, folks. We'll let Todd get back to his busy day, and we will catch you all next time on the CADDle Call podcast. All right, everybody. Today's CADDle Call was brought to you courtesy of ZenTek Consultants. That's Rocco and I. ZenTek Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. ZenTek strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to ZenTek?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentekconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentekconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.